So our last award today is the Lifetime Achievement Award to Jack Roseman. And I'd like to welcome to the stage Ginny Perbanik to be the first, give the first introduction.
Oh, I didn't see those. Those are incredible. Hi. I'm Ginny Perbanik. I'm the founder and CEO of MedRespond. And I'm so pleased to be with you tonight to honor my dear, longtime teacher, mentor, and friend as tonight's Lifetime Achievement Award, Jack Roseman. I forgot his name. Sadly, Jack's unable to join us tonight to accept this because of some failing health. But he's thrilled to accept the award and thanks you all for that award. In Jack's stead, we're welcome to have his lovely wife, Judy, his two daughters, Sherry Waldman and Laura Kaufeller, and his three grandchildren, Sheena, Kyle, and Phelan, at table 2. We welcome you all and thank you all for being here so much. And I want you all to know that this event is being recorded so that his family can share it with him tomorrow. So I'm going to ask all of you, which is why I brought my wine with me today, to turn and raise a glass to Jack. Cheers, Jack.
Hold it up there for a minute.
The recording is right there. Jack, cheers. We miss you. Thank you, thank you. And I wanted to point you out to the bio that Kristen has written in the program, and I think it really tells you about the incredible career that Jack Roseman had, his incredible successes and all that he's done. But when I look at the people that are most important, the truly great people in life, you don't get the view of them in their resumes. What you really learn is what that the person's integrity, their character, and their values. And Jack Roseman is amongst the finest people I've ever met. And I'm not prone to superlatives, and I don't say that. I reserve that term, the finest person I've ever met, for only one person, and that's Jack Roseman. Because Jack is one of those rare individuals who every day had a very clear idea of what kind of person he wanted to be, what was right, what was true, and what was good. And when he got out of bed in the morning, that's the way he set his compass. He made sure every day was dedicated to friends and family, and that he spent his time in service to others. He has a strong ethic and a work ethic and a deep desire to succeed. And I think that Jack's passion and his commitment to success really comes from his early years, because Jack comes from a family of immigrants. His parents left the Ukraine to escape Nazis. They settled in some of the poor neighborhoods of Boston, which is where Jack was born. They were poor, often hungry, and they were victims of anti-Semitic attacks. Many who begin their life in such a difficult and become bitter and withdrawn, but not Jack. That adversity fired his steely grit and armed him for the success. He drove himself to succeed, working 18 hours, 7 days a week. He drove himself very, very hard. He always worked. But it all paid off in a career that saw Jack taking a leading role in the early days of the computer industry. His first job was at MIT as part of the Air Force's Whirlwind project, working on those early massive building-sized computers with 5,000 vacuum tubes that filled the entire room. As a graduate student at UMass, he developed the computer curriculum and developed and taught the computer courses. And I can tell you, back in those days, there weren't very many women in computer classes. But Jack had a very cute little co-ed who loved computers, Judy. That started their whirlwind romance, and Jack has been Judy has been Jack's wife, friend, and companion for nearly 60 years. I asked Jack once what was the secret to such a successful, happy marriage, and he told me that he had learned long ago that the only thing he should say is, "Yes, ma'am." But then I asked Judy the same question, and Judy said, "I learned a long time ago to say, 'Yes, sir.'" So friends, I think that really is, you've seen both sides of that coin. Jack spent much of his career showing the world how to use computers, how to work in operations and finance and defense for several consulting firms and service firms, including his own. Then in the early 70s, Jack made what he thinks was one of his best decisions to actually uproot his family from Bethesda and move to Pittsburgh to take over online systems, an incredible, successful startup. Jack and his family loved the city as a great place to live, to work, and to raise a family. And at that time, Jack was exactly what Pittsburgh needed as it struggled to recover from the steel industry collapse. He became one of the pioneers in the region's technology sector and fostered its growth. Jack continued to be a workaholic with 18-hour days, even after his move in Pittsburgh, 7 days a week. He never quit. He spent little time with his family and no time relaxing. He was always pushing hard, too hard. Until the age of 42, and I'm going to say that again because you look at where you are relative to that. At 42 years old, Jack had his first heart attack, a severe heart attack. He and Judy were both told that he may not make it to the morning. Massive heart attack. That blow to his health was devastating, but this period gave Jack plenty of time to think, to reflect on his life, its purpose, and to renew his resolve. Because Jack had a passion that always he felt drove his life, and it was a passion to serve others and support others, and to appreciate his family and the life he was given. It was at this point in time in his life, Jack started a habit of setting his watch alarm to midnight every night, so it would wake him up and remind him of another day that was a gift to him. Jack soon began the next step on his journey, and he really became this region's technology mentor. He shared his experiences, his success, his lessons, his wisdom, his joy, everything that Jack could give. He shared with the technology entrepreneurs in this region. He mentored as the head of local incubators, teaching in entrepreneurship at CMU, and at his namesake, Roseman Institute. It was during this time that I first met Jack. He was my professor at CMU, and my class had a scheduling conflict, and we couldn't take his second class. So Jack added a new class and just scheduled it so that it was all, within our schedules, because that's what Jack did. After the class, Jack invited us to keep in touch with him and let him know if we ever needed any advice. I and many others took Jack up on that, and he offered us his regular meetings, lunchtime meetings at Cafe Sam in the corner table. I've had my regular meetings with Jack, mentoring, advising, therapy sessions, every couple of months now for over 25 years. 25 years, that's amazing. And I'm not alone. Jack meets regularly with dozens of entrepreneurs from our community, and he helps everyone. He's made us all better entrepreneurs and better human beings. I've often thought it would be a great idea to pull together all of Jack's entrepreneurs and start a company. And the company would be designed to take on the biggest challenges of the world and figures the world's biggest problems. And of course, it would be Roseman, Inc. And I think that's a really nice idea, and I understand there might be some funding opportunities in this audience, and we could talk about that after the networking period. But in the meantime, let me thank you for allowing me to be here to honor my good friend, and I'd like to introduce you to another one of Jack's entrepreneurs, Ron Bianchini. Thank you.
Semi-talk kind of life, baby, baby, I want something else.
Wow. Okay, let's go. So I'm Ron Bianchini, distinguished engineer at Microsoft. Distinguished engineer means two things. One, they bought my last company. Two, I'm old. But I'm also a serial entrepreneur. And that, I really have Jack Roseman to thank, and that's what we want to talk about. What I'd like to talk about is my interaction with Jack, my lessons learned from Jack. I too met Jack about 25 years ago in 1994. I was a professor at Carnegie Mellon. I thought the best technology wins. You didn't need a sales force. You build it and they will come. And Jack basically told me I was wrong, just about everything. So when I first met Jack, I had written a patent for Carnegie Mellon. And at this point, Carnegie Mellon had a fledgling tech transfer office. Stanford was the pinnacle in tech transfer, and Carnegie Mellon was trying to compete with the Stanford Tech Transfer Office. So they brought in an entrepreneur, Benno Berndt, to run the office and to try to turn things around. And what Jack, you know you're not laughing at me, so it has to be the pictures. And so what Benno's idea was, every time someone writes a patent or any time the university is going to get involved, they're going to pair you up with someone from the entrepreneur school. My pairing was Jack Roseman. And we were very successful. Jack helped me negotiate 2 licenses for the university. We brought Carnegie Mellon Tech Transfer Office, we set the high bar. We brought in $3 million into the Tech Transfer Office, which then went to university. We were the darlings of tech transfer until 6 months ago, Lycos came in and generated $4.5 million, and then they all forgot our names. But what I learned from Jack, and you have to picture, through that process, you have to picture Jack. So here's lesson 1 from Jack. Everything, and then imagine Jack leaning back in his chair, putting his hands behind his head, and I mean everything is negotiable. And he was absolutely right. And it didn't quite hit me. Through the whole process, he was incredible in helping me get these deals done. But when it hit me was my first out-of-work Jack experience. I've known Jack for about 2 or 3 months. I'm in my daughter's bedroom trying to give her bedroom kisses, goodnight kisses, and she's negotiating what I'm going to do for her tomorrow for the number of kisses I get. And I sit back and said, Jack was right. So this was my first out-of-office Jack experience. Number 2, lesson 2 was after that, 3 years later, I had another idea with another professor, and this one was less innovative, more required doing. Rather than going to Tech Transfer Office, we brought that idea to Jack, and we had a bunch of discussions about what to do, and we said, instead of writing a patent, this is a product that you have to build, deliver, and bring to market. And he was absolutely right. We incorporated a company, we then brought that company to market, we sold that company to 4 Systems. But here's the lesson learned from Jack through that. Jack has a quote, which is, if no one's doing it, maybe no one needs it. So the subtext there is, you may not be doing it because you're the only one that could do it. You may be doing it because the market doesn't need what you have to bring to market. And so Jack's advice to me was, customers, customers, customers. So unfortunately, I didn't take his advice. I thought I had plenty of time to go get customers. Little did I know that time was fleeting. We incorporated Scalable. We raised $2 million on a $4 million pre and had a $40 million exit. We thought that was great, but look what we're able to do the second time once we took Jack's advice up front and went and got customers first. Our second company, again, working with Jack, Spinnaker Networks, we went and found and signed up beta customers first out of Jack's pushing us to go do that. So basically the numbers are all a factor of 10 better than what we did with Scalable. We raised $20 million on a $40 million pre, and we sold that company for $300 million. All because of Jack's advice, all because of the lessons learned from Jack. So let me now tell you my most recent Jack learning, and I'm not even sure that Jack knows this, so he's gonna find out. I'm at the closing dinner. My last company, we went 10 years, and we struggled in the middle. We basically built a product for customers that were leaving the data center and going to cloud. So in the middle of this company, we had this big pivot, and we had to change to become a cloud company. It took us 10 years to get there. And we sold that company to Microsoft. We're at the closing dinner, and the chairman of my board gets up and says, "Nowhere ever have I seen an entrepreneur more optimistic through all the bad times than Ron, and taking us through and getting this thing sold." And I immediately, so you have to imagine, I'm at this dinner table, there are half full glasses of water all over the table. And this, to me, is probably one of Jack's best quotes and best piece of advice. Jack says in his book, right, Outrageous Optimism, his quote is, "An optimist sees the glass of water half full, but an entrepreneur sees a crystal chalice with wine," right? And it was that optimism that was able to take me and get that company. Again, all from Jack. All from Jack's advice. So in the end, what I appreciate the most about Jack was his guidance and his mentoring. Let me be clear, from where I started, Jack was my teacher. He taught me all the time. But what I loved about his mentoring style and his way of communicating with you is you didn't know you were being lectured. You didn't know you were taking your medicine. He was just making you a better entrepreneur in the process. And I have to say this. I know it was more than just about work. To Jack, family was an integral part of everything that he did. It was weeks that I started working with Jack, and I immediately met Judy and understand how they worked together and how they communicated. What I learned was, how they worked together. Or communicated, I get it. What I learned was Judy was as much an integral part of his work life as his home life. And probably one of the greatest lessons I took from Jack was that lesson. He taught me that my wife was my best partner, and that my family, and I still feel this today, my family is my biggest accomplishment. So more than what he taught me, I think the biggest thing that Jack brought to all of us was his guidance, his mentoring, his important part of the Pittsburgh technology landscape. In the early 90s, there was a serious drought of anyone with experience that had run a company, that had been through the hard times and the good times, and what it meant to succeed. And Jack was that person. Jack filled that void. The thing that I would really like to do, Jeannie, something very similar to what you said, is I think we need a genealogy map. I think we need to take all the entrepreneurs in Pittsburgh and figure out who their mentors were. I think if you create that map, you will find that Jack is at the root of the tree for all of us here in Pittsburgh. So I think the biggest thing I want to say about Jack and what Jack's done for me is changed my trajectory. Hopefully, from these examples I've given you, you see that he changed my trajectory in business, he changed my trajectory in life and my family, and more than that, he changed the trajectory of entrepreneurship in Pittsburgh. So with that, I'd like to bring Judy up on stage to accept the award for Jack. Bring everybody up on stage.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly called when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while.
No, I'm fine.
I think everything I'm going to say has been said by either Ginny or Ron, and I really appreciate the kind words. And I can't wait for Jack to get to hear this tomorrow hopefully it will be tomorrow. Dear members and friends of PVCA, and especially Kelly Shanko, wherever she is. 2 days after Jack was accepted into the hospice program because of his deteriorating heart, he received an email from Kelly telling him that the PVCA would like to award the 2019 PVCA Lifetime Achievement Award to him. They wanted to recognize him because of all he has done for so long to foster and grow the venture community here in Pittsburgh. Not only has the PVCA recognized him, but by doing so, they also gave him a very timely pick-me-upper gift. He is so sorry that he does not have the energy to be able to be with everyone tonight to thank you personally for his recognition. He also wishes that he had more energy to be able to thank people individually for the business relationships and friendships he has made here in Pittsburgh. He is at home now in the very capable hands of his hospice aide. He will be looking forward to receiving a copy of this tape being made tonight. Let me take a moment to assure you that Jack is in no pain and does not need pain medication. The hospice help is fantastic and will be doing everything possible to make sure that he stays comfortable and at home, sleeping in his own bed. Well, actually our bed. We have been blessed with his damaged heart for the past 45 years. We have been blessed that his damaged heart for the past 45 years has allowed him to continue his work, his love of mentoring and teaching, and has allowed Jack and I to celebrate 59 years of marriage. Jack asked me to relay a few words for him, and I quote, "I would never have expected not to be here in person to accept this special award, but you people are lucky. You have a better person than I accepting the award. I love Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh people. I have tried to give back to the community these 50 years that we have lived here. By honoring me with this award, you are telling me that I have been successful in giving back to my business community. May God bless all of you and help you to continue to grow this fantastic city. All my love, Jack."